I guess just to start, if there is one message from my talk today that I hope you leave with, it is this. We all have a choice right now to live our most authentic life. Not tomorrow or someday in the future, but right now. Although I don't consider myself a traditional person or someone who fits in happily into a mold, I realized that when I enrolled in the Master of Arts in Professional Communications at RRU, I had very traditional expectations of what I was hoping to get out of it. Basically, it was to advance my career in marketing and communications. Instead, the program tipped everything I thought I knew on its head and left me reevaluating my personal and professional goals. I hope through my stories and experiences, you'll see how spending 3 months living in a remote village in the Philippines ignited a fire in my soul that had been dimly burning for years. How it had me questioning my very existence, upbringing, social beliefs and norms, and pushing me to break free from the standard mold that I had conformed to for majority of my life. Drawing from my only previous experiences, going through public school in Saskatchewan and directly into a Bachelor of Commerce after high school, I found myself basically going through the motions. For me, getting an undergraduate degree was merely to get a good job, buy a nice house, settle down, and get married. All of the things I think society teaches us we should do. When I graduated from commerce, I had it all. I was working in Bankers Tower in downtown Calgary. I had a good paying job, nice place to live. What more could I want, right? But I remember looking out a window on the 21st floor at this picturesque scene of snow-capped mountains, but the irony was that I was stuck sitting in a monochrome office. It reminds me now of Mad Men, and I kind of laugh about it. All of us in our perfectly steamed black and gray suits, shuffling our way up and down the elevator every day, nobody really talking to each other because we're all too busy or important. I kept wondering, is this it? Are we supposed to work, come home, go to sleep, wake up, repeat? Not to mention how much I hated wearing a suit. I often found myself Googling art schools, graphic design schools, volunteering opportunities in any country that was far away. My heart was yearning for creativity, vibrancy, and a purpose. But my brain would counter saying, you can't do that. How are you going to make a living doing that? So I fit back into the standard mold, the norm of what you think society wants you to be or what you think is right. And 6 years later, I found myself working in the basement of a library, this time with no windows. We didn't have that picturesque backdrop of snow-capped mountains. We were literally living the majority of our days in a cinder block hole with the Passenger's song, Scare Away the Dark, playing on repeat. The lyrics painting the exact picture of my life. And it goes like this. We wish our weekdays away, spend our weekends in bed, and work ourselves dead. And all just because that's what mom and dad said we should do. When really, we should run through the forest, we should swim in the streams, we should laugh, we should cry, we should love, we should dream. We should stare at the stars and not just the screens. You should hear what I'm saying and know what it means. It was like Michael David Rosenberg, Passenger's lead singer, was singing my truth. I felt like he was literally talking to me. He said, feel like you still have a choice. And when he said, if we all light up, we can scare away the dark. And that's when I recognized that I had a choice of bringing color back into my life. And I wasn't alone, that at least somebody else was feeling or had felt the same way that I had felt. All of this was happening simultaneously while I was doing my master's, and it dawned on me that if I do my research on libraries, I'm just continuing to add to this monochrome narrative of a life. Same old, same old. And RRU really opened my eyes to the possibilities and prospects of what could be done. Studying dance culture in Havana, studying remote cultures in Haida, or documenting orphanages in Colombia. Culture, purpose, ways of life unlike my own is what I was searching to know and learn. So I embarked on what would be a life-changing adventure, one that didn't come with ease or comfort, in fact, quite the opposite. Combining my love for photography and travel, I traveled to the Philippines where I lived for 3 months, nestled between the ocean and the verdant, vast, dense ridges of the northern Sierra Madre mountain range. I would spend 6 weeks dwelling with the inhabitants near the Blos River in northern Luzon. This area is remotely located in the largest protected area in the Philippines as it covers the last undisturbed lowland rainforests. There are no roads that connect these people to the mainland Luzon, no electricity, no running water, no internet, no cell coverage. You're not going to find Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or Snapchat. The only way to access the area is by small propeller plane or ferry. And you're probably envisioning BC ferries, but it's nothing like that. It's a small wooden boat with minimal coverage from the scorching sun that can take anywhere from 6 to 12 hours, depending on the day and depending on the person you're asking. With no formal photography training or background in international research, what I was setting out to do was highly risky, but I figured that there was no better time or place to try. I remember it like it was yesterday, landing on this half-grass, half-paved runway that was narrowly set between the ocean and the rainforest, stepping out of the plane for the first time, my feet connecting with the lush green grass. The moisture from the sea and rainforest caused them to sink gently into the earth, and for the first time in a really, really long time, I felt grounded. Being there helped me appreciate and reconnect with the beauties of the natural world, like the lush green rainforest, the crystal blue river streams, and the simple way of living without the necessities of cell phones and internet. I actually miss my freshwater showers, my freshly caught fish, and the slower way of life. Now, don't get me wrong, life near the Blows isn't perfect by any means, what life is. They have very real struggles with poverty, marginalization, and segregation, but it definitely forced me to continually question what my purpose was and reflect on the life I wanted to live when I got back home. And as I began writing my thesis, I drew inspiration from David Welsford, who gave up the luxuries of land in search of happiness and adventure on a 50-year-old wooden boat. He spent more than a year sailing by himself, solo, in the Caribbean, and it struck me when he said, being down here on the ocean, you start to realize it is more about watching the sunrise than it is about going to the clubs at night. Nowhere else in his life has he lived by these parameters of going to bed when the sun goes down and getting up when the sun rises, all of which we did, and that's how we lived when we were in the Philippines. The sun goes down every day at home, he says, but he never sat there and actually watched it. And he laughs and says he certainly didn't watch it when it came up. I definitely believe a foreign country changes you the minute you step foot in it. The alternate landscape, culture shock, force you to reevaluate and readjust your norms. But more importantly, it enables you to appreciate the things that you might take for granted back home. For me, I guess this sums up the essence of how my journey to the Philippines enabled me to reconnect with what I believe is important in life. The notion of spending more time living right now, in this very present moment, and less time accumulating things, cars, houses, trucks, but more importantly, living your authentic life and not the life you think society wants you to live. Thank you.